Once each autumn, the North Georgia hills echo the sounds that ring so sweet in the ears of motorsports enthusiasts everywhere. From the high-pitched whine of the sports racers to the thunderous roar of the GT machines, this sprawling 1,000 acres known as Road Atlanta will set tranquility aside to welcome more than 600 amateur road racers from across America. They come well-funded and they come underfunded, but they come with one purpose in mind. That purpose is to decide the national championship. On this silver anniversary of the nation's premier amateur motorsports event, there is but one question to be answered: who will win the gold? The first edition of what is now known as the Valvoline Runoffs was held at Riverside International Raceway in California in 1964. After alternating between that facility and Daytona, the Runoffs settled here at Road Atlanta in 1970. Under new ownership, this picturesque 2.52-mile road course is not only a favorite among the drivers, but also the tens of thousands of fans who flock here each fall to get a hearty helping of pure competition. 22 championship races over a 3-day period. After several days of preparation, testing, practice, and qualifying, there remains just one task: to drive just one more race, just 18 laps, to compete against your peers, remembering that they too have earned the right to be here, that they too are considered to be among the best. Are you prepared to win? For pure racing excitement and spectator appeal, it's tough to match the Formula Fords. These open-wheel 1600cc race cars are often the starting point for would-be Indy car racers. One of the largest fields of the weekend, the 33 brightly colored machines take to the track, led on the front row by veteran Craig Taylor in the 26 Swift, and young newcomer number 12, Kenny Hendrick, also piloting a Swift DB1. After twice refusing the anxious field, the starter shows the green, and it's a scramble into the first turn, and Taylor leads them up the hill. After 4 laps of racing, it's 19-year-old Kenny Hendrick in the lead at the Nissan Bridge.
Race, maybe a 4-car race pretty soon coming out.
Taylor fought back, however, and was able to retake the lead on lap 9. With Hendrick on his gearbox, Taylor got off track and lost the lead, this time for good to Hendrick. While his pursuers battled among themselves for position, a cool Kenny Hendrick built up a 3-second lead to capture his first national championship. In a tight contest for the other medals, it was Kirk Stevens grabbing the silver over third-place Mark Abel. After a happy and somewhat champagne-soaked Hendrick celebrated on the victory podium, he got together with his dad and gave a hint of things to come.
We got a Trans Am car, and I'd like to run that car. You know, we hopefully financially we'll get something together, and I'd like to be running that.
From Chino, California, the gold medal in Formula Ford goes to Kenny Hendrick. Showroom stock is just what the name implies. Except for some safety modifications, these automobiles are virtually the same as when they came out of the showroom. At least, that's what the rules say they're supposed to be. In Showroom Stock C, these small engine, small wheelbase cars represent some idea of what it would be like to race your family transportation. Unfortunately for some drivers, the biggest test of the afternoon came not on the racetrack, but in the inspection shed. When the SCCA inspectors finally emerged, the first 4 finishers had been disqualified for rules violations. Although they were unable to share the glory of the victory podium, the eventual medal winners were nonetheless grateful to have captured a share of the fame while escaping the wrath of the enforcers. The national champion in Showroom Stock C was Britt Ponder out of Duranville, Georgia, driving a Volkswagen GTI. The silver went to Peter Cunningham from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Florida's Fred Fiala took third-place honors. In the E-production race, Bob Studdard of Tenille, Georgia was the pole setter. Joe Cogbill shared the front row, and 19 other entries shot down the front straight and into the first turn. Bontempi and Helmut got together there as the pack avoids a major disaster. Studdard continues to lead, but Paul Sproul, coming all the way from the 11th spot, is closing. Sproul is putting the hurt on his tires as he tries desperately to reel in the leader. They now run the entire course side by side, and the crowd is loving it. Sproul tries him again on the front straight and has him going up the hill. The last lap, and Studdard makes a last-ditch effort for the lead, but comes up short and will have to settle for the silver medal. Joe Cogbill and Bob Kirby are also locked in a battle for the bronze, with Cogbill just pulling it out at the finish. The national championship and the gold medal go to Paul Sproul of Atlanta, Georgia, in E production. As the D-Sports racers approached the starter, it was apparent that pole sitter Ron Finger of Savannah, Georgia, would not be there to accept the green. As Finger sat in the paddock with a dead engine, Al Beasley of Willoughby, Ohio, took command right away and would never look back. By the halfway point in the race, Beasley had built up a 16-second lead. Number 28, Richard Camp, is running second, with Travis Duder back in third. As the checkered flag is shown, Al Beasley, driving the Beasley Decker, gets his second career championship, his first in D Sports racing. Camp finishes second for the silver, and Duder grabs the bronze. In a sport where everyone talks about the young up-and-coming, it's 62-year-old Al Beasley winning the national title and the gold medal. And by the way, that's Al's 82-year-old mother with him in the cockpit, along for a quick victory lap. Sounding like a pack of angry hornets, a small but determined field of GT5 cars lined up for the starter, led by the Nissan of David Schauer. As the race gets underway, the number 45 machine of Schauer shows the way around the course, followed by Zellner in second. On lap number 2, Jeff Worth of Silver Springs, Maryland, makes his mark by moving into third place after starting 7th. Moving ahead to lap 9, it's David Schluter making a bid for the third spot as he hangs on just behind Worth. Schluter gets by Worth and takes over the number 3 spot as David Schauer continues to run up front. Let's look at the last lap now, as Schluter draws closer to Schauer, but it won't be enough as the man from Dallas, Texas takes his first national championship. David Schauer wins the gold, Schluter the silver, and Jeff Worth gets the bronze in GT5. If you'd like to go racing in a very tight spot on a shoestring budget without a lot of frills, like a suspension, then watch as the Formula 440s take the track. As the field scrambles into the first turn, it's Kurt Jekyll stealing the lead from number 2, Dave Drissel. As these 25 small but quick racers make their way around, it's a constant battle for position. On lap number 5, Drissel gets by Jekyll on the back straight and leads the field under the bridge. Jekyll won't sit still for that and retakes the lead in turn 1. Elliott, Leathers, and Lohner follow close behind. Three-time national champ Mike Leathers has his hands full trying to play catch-up. He spins it under the bridge, but will continue on. As the war rages on for the next several laps, Drissel continues to swap positions with Jekyll, Elliott, and Lohner. When all the swapping was over, Dave Drissel in the Raptor captured the win with Lohner and Paul Elliott taking the silver and bronze respectively. Up until now, the Southeast has always been home to the Formula 440 national champion.
I said to myself, I want to be the first out of the Southeast to win this thing, and I did it.
When the flagman signaled the start of the Showroom Stock B race, it was Peter Farrell leading the train into one, followed by Scavenus, Postel, Hughes, and Van Tress. By the halfway point in the race, Farrell was more than 3 seconds out in front of second place Scavenus. The battle stayed heated, however, between the 00 car of Victor Van Tress and Rick Gamble and Tom Hughes. As the checkered flag was waved, the same question lingered in everyone's mind. Would the results stand, or would the tech shed be where the race would ultimately be decided? The top 3 finishers were found to have too much boost in their turbochargers and were disqualified. The national championship and the gold medal were finally awarded to Tom Hughes of Simi Valley, California. The silver medal would go to Rick Gamble, and Peter Kramer won the bronze. There are many ways to watch an auto race. You can see it from high in the tower or from low in the turns. You can relax in the bleachers and go home after the action has died down for the day. Or you can really soak up the atmosphere by living at the track during the entire event. "25 Spridgets and a lonely Opal made up the field for the H production race. Ken Ferguson of Summerfield, North Carolina captured the pole by about a second over Bob Weber of Louisiana. It was Weber, however, that led the pack out of one and up the hill. Ferguson then took back the top spot and began to pull away from the rest of the pack. Number 41, Randy Canfield, got together with Weber to do battle for the silver and gave the fans every reason to cheer this group of sports car aficionados. As the race wore on, Canfield's strong showing ends on the next to last lap with gearbox problems. John Stamps, driving from 9th position, gets under the checkered to take 3rd. Bob Weber got the silver, but it was 15-year veteran Ken Ferguson winning his first national championship by a margin of some 16 seconds.
Everybody has a goal and everybody has something that's really important to them, and this is it for me. So I don't know now. I'm just tickled to death.
With a very strong field of Sports 2000 challengers, Bob Lesnett led a picture-perfect start past the green and into turn 1. But then the red flag began waving as a nasty turn number 5 incident took out a number of cars and blocked the course. After a lengthy intermission, the field was restarted with only 17 of the original 27 cars still on course. Jay Hill, driving a Lola, follows Lesnett Swift as the two widen their gap on the rest of the field with every lap. The 72 machine of Ken Kroger dogs the third-place car of Steve Johnson. When the flag falls, it's Lesnett by a second and a half over Hill. Kroger spins it under the bridge, and Johnson hangs on to capture the bronze. Bob Lesnett wins his first national championship. In F production, the field consisted largely of midgets, with a few Spitfires thrown in for good measure. But it was a Turner 1500 on the pole, driven by Utah's Larry Moulton. The two-time national champ led the field under the green and built up a comfortable 3-second lead until a broken rear axle took him out of the contest on lap number 8. Jeff Lane, in the 19 midget, assumed command until a broken distributor ended his day at the races. As attrition continued to take its toll on the field, the favorites all seemed to fall by the wayside, ending up as spectators. They had to be content watching Danny Monte of Burlington, Wisconsin, build up an eventual 15-second lead as he went on to take the gold in his blue number 44 midget. Monte, who started 8th, was followed by silver medal winner Glenn Graham of Texas and third place Ray Yerger. A jubilant crew helped Monte prove to all in attendance that the midget easily converts to a 7-passenger vehicle for those close family outings. "40-year-old David Finch placed his bright yellow number 86 Raytech Porsche on the pole for the GT2 contest by shattering the course qualifying record set by John Finger a year ago. But Finger, right alongside of Finch on the front row, was going to make certain it would at least be a drag race into turn number 1. Even though Finger jumped the start slightly, it was Finch with a slight lead exiting 1. As the field tests turn 11 for the first time, Tom Patton spins it in the number 58 car. John Kelly, driving number 68 Toyota, helped make it a tight 3-car battle for at least the first few laps. Kelly manages to put the Mazda RX-7 of Finger back into third place, but they continue to race nose to tail. Finch has his Porsche 944S working flawlessly and leads the field by a comfortable margin as Matt Minich dogs Finger until finally catching him and moving into third place. But in the next corner, after receiving a love tap from Finger, Minich ended his day planted solidly into the tire wall. The Porsche of Gagari was able to catch Finger and would end up with the bronze. Even though Kelly showed some signs of catching Finch late in the race, it was the Raytech Porsche taking the checkered, with Kelly settling for the silver. The national champion is David Finch by a margin of a second and a half in a flag-to-flag GT2 victory. John Thompson in the number 22 Swift owned the pole for the Formula Atlantic race and used that lofty position to exercise his prerogative by forcing another pace lap due to the cool morning temperatures. But 4 wave-offs? After the field finally learned to behave, it was the number 6 Atlantic of Charles Batka leading the charge up the hill. Within 2 laps, however, Thompson managed to slip by Batka and began to pull away. Thompson cruises to an easy 5-second victory for the gold medal, followed by Charles Batka with the silver and Stan Waddles the bronze. Thompson, happy with the win, had a special word for a recently departed friend of the sport.
car's been spectacular. I got to thank the Stuart Moore crew with John Loss and Vince. We came here, we wanted to dedicate this race for Al Holbert. He's a close friend of mine, and we did it for him.
What's the easiest and least expensive way to go racing? The probable answer would have to be Sport Renault. The SCCA's most popular class is a showcase for driver ability. A large field of 37 took to the course in these $10,000 spec cars powered by the 1700cc Reliant Encore engine. Last year's champ, Mike Davies of DeLand, Florida, shared the front row with pole sitter Dave Tenney. As the green is waved, Tenney leads the way into turn 1. But as we pick up the field at the bridge, Davies will grab lap 1 honors. The tightly bunched field follows the 2 leaders around the course. Davies got in a bit more practice time here at the Road Atlanta course, acting as instructor for the facility's driving school. When things finally got sorted out, the race became rather predictable. Mike Davies repeats as national champion in Sport Renault. David Tenney of Chicago gets the silver, with Mike Alexander winning the bronze. The number 19 Fiat of Detroit's Bob Thomas showed the way in G production with a blistering qualifying time. More than a second behind Thomas was Tom Mankin in an Alfa Romeo. But as the field made their way through turn 1, the second row of Jack Brock and Melvin Allen found themselves duking it out with Armour and DiGiacomo. The result was this nasty-looking heap of wreckage, giving the corner workers all the reason in the world to sprout a new crop of gray hair. After the sorting was through and all parties separated from their remodeled machines, no serious injuries were reported. Back to the front of the pack, it was Thomas leading Mankin and the others through the Road Atlanta S's. Thomas would not hold the lead for long, however, as valve problems forced an early retirement. With just 6 laps to go, Prather in the number 26 NGA fell victim to a weak gearbox, which left second place to North Carolina's Gary Balcom. Steve Sargis managed to hold third place in the SBS Battery Spitfire. When the flagman signaled with the checkered, it was an enormous 34-second victory and the gold for Texan Tom Mankin. The Formula Continental event turned out to be a textbook example of how to drive the nearly perfect race. French-Canadian Claude Bourbonnais had the pole position with the 00 machine of Kansas City's Curtis Farley up alongside. Going into number 1 as a unit, it was Bourbonnais that led up the hill. Steve Knapp followed close back in third, and the rest of the field would have to be content to be called just that. Putting on an awesome display of driving brilliance for the crowd, Claude showed why he was this year's Canadian Formula 2000 champion. Curtis Farley would try his best, but Bourbonnais would eventually win with a 9-second advantage over Farley, with Steve Knapp getting the bronze. The national champion in Formula Continental is Claude Bourbonnais from Île-Perrot in Quebec, Canada. You see them at every turn. As a matter of fact, you see them no matter where you turn. Those people in the white suits with the funny hats and the numerous pins and badges. Why would someone give up their vacation time to work long hours under dangerous conditions for no pay? The sport owes everything to these people. We salute the workers. A 24-car field of GT3 race cars scrubbed in their tires with Craig Carter and his Toyota Corolla on the pole, with the Acura Integra of Jim Dentisi also up front. When the green was given, Carter took the lead at the first turn. On lap number 2, as we look through the windshield of the Mazda driven by Dennis Golden, John Kelly in the number 66 car loses it going into 1, and Golden barely sneaks by. Dentisi now has the lead in the 11 car, but Carter sticks close. Carter finally grabs the lead from a smoking Dentisi. Back a few spots, let's watch as Dennis Golden tries to get past Fletcher Williams in the Triumph. With a 2.8-second advantage, Craig Carter gets the win, with Fred Baker capturing the silver medal and Dennis Golden winning the bronze for third. The GT3 National Championship goes to Craig Carter of Chicago in the Toyota Corolla. Anticipating a battle between the Porsches and Corvettes, the crowd was really looking forward to the Showroom Stock GT race. Bob Strange held just the slightest edge over fellow Porsche pilot Freddie Baker as they shared the front row when the green was given to a field of 23. The first 5 laps consisted of a 2-car battle for the lead between Strange and Baker. Here, Strange delivers a graphic illustration of closing the door, but Baker fought back. At the drop of the checkered flag, it was Freddie Baker, followed by Strange and Hawkins. After the rules folks had their say, however, Hawkins was stripped of the bronze. The final order of finish made Fred Baker the national champ. Fellow Buckeye and tire spokesman Bob Strange won the silver medal, and Ken Payson was eventually awarded third place in Showroom Stock GT. The twin Tracer racers of Californians Chuck Billington and Tom Foster shared the front row for the C Sports racer class. But as the field takes the green flag, it's the red number 44 car of 1986 CSR champion Al Beasley blowing through traffic from a 7th place starting spot to lead the hungry pack through the first turn. Beasley is being dogged by Foster, and on lap number 7 shows the signs of horsepower loss as Foster gets by and takes the lead. The Tracers of Foster and Billington will now make it a 2-car race to the flag. Beasley is a distant but solid third as the rest of the pack remains out of contention. Here they come out of turn 11 as the slower car makes it an interesting finish, with Billington coming oh so close, but finishing as the bridesmaid for the 5th year in a row. For Tom Foster, however, it's his 6th opportunity to bask in the glow of the gold medal and the national championship in C Sports racing. A healthy field assembled for the Showroom Stock A Championship event, led by pole sitter Jim Roberts of Birmingham, Alabama. As the green flag was shown to the field, Roberts led the way in his number 5 Mitsubishi Starion. The tight pack that followed included Timbrook, Maluzio, Pombo, and Grissom. Maluzio takes matters into his own hands under the bridge as he grabs the lead from Roberts. On lap number 7, The hard-charging Pepe Pombo got by Maluzio and held on to take the checkered flag by a couple of seconds over Maluzio, followed by Grissom, Roberts, and Fernandez. But again, after the tech man had his say, Pepe was stripped of the gold. Second and third place honors were also taken from Maluzio and Grissom, leaving the official order of finish as follows. Jim Roberts is declared the national champion in Showroom Stock A. The silver goes to John Fernandez, with Wiley Timbrook taking home the bronze. This year's GT4 pole went to Don Erb Jr. in a Honda CRX. Next door sits Dave Kirkhoff in a Nissan Pulsar with bodywork that makes the car look like a small station wagon. At the start, Erb leads the field with Kirkhoff second. On lap number 3, Kirkhoff grabs the lead just prior to the bridge. A bit later, it's Dwayne Davis and the number 4 Renault Lacar that shoots into the lead at turn 1. Kirkhoff, with his tires going away, is being hounded by the early leader, Don Erb. At the checkered flag, Dwayne Davis of Battleground, Washington will capture the gold medal. Kirkhoff gets even with Erb at the bridge, and these two make it a thriller to the wire, with Erb barely keeping the silver and Kirkhoff settling for third place and the bronze medal. You know there's great racing ahead when a grid of 23 Formula V racers are separated by only a single second after qualifying. George Fazell in the number 33 Caracal D got the jump on the start and led an extremely tight field through the first turn. Fazell goes out in front by a wide margin, but there are 13 other cars trying for the second spot. Floridian George Fazell wins the national title by a comfortable margin. A battle for second is won by 17th starter Bill Noble, while Buzz Collins hangs on for third. These guys are not only great racers, but pretty good PR people for the Formula V class.
It's real close competition. Everybody's got about the same horsepower, and they're all good drivers. It really is a neat class.
When it comes to running a class act in motorsports, few do it better than Jack Roush and Bob Sharp. With 20-year-old Scott at the wheel of the Planters Nissan 300ZX, Sharp was out to make it 2 in a row. But Jacksonville, Florida's Deborah Gregg was out to prove herself worthy of the national title in the Roush-prepared Mustang prototype. Gregg qualified on the pole, with Sharp just a half-second back. Wayne Akers and Bob Sobey shared the second row, and as the green flag dropped, the spectators were on their feet as they sensed they were about to receive their money's worth and then some. Lap after lap saw young Scott try a number of different ways around Gregg, but defense was on Deborah's mind as her line seemed to widen in any number of the track's 12 turns. Behind the leaders, a battle was waging for third place between Akers, Sobey, and Clement. With just 5 laps to go and a few gentle reminders from Sharp, Deborah Gregg could do no more to hold off the superb handling Nissan machine. Scott Sharp takes the lead coming away from 1 and goes on to win 2 in a row. Gregg gets the silver and Akers the bronze. The gold medal, the symbol of excellence in any sport, coveted by all who compete, but possessed by only a few. For the 650 men and women who came here to Road Atlanta seeking this treasure, only 22 will own it. To the remainder, there is next year, and another chance to prove once and for all that they too are capable of victory.